Good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning. Now I know you're looking at this thumbnail. It's like, what are they going to talk about today? Would Jesus get along with? You see Jesus on the left hand side, and you see Goku on the right hand side. And I promise you, even though we're having fun today, if you tune into this, you are going to be blessed. This is the Acknowledge Him podcast. We're your hosts, Avedon and Yofi Smith, and welcome to the show. This is going to be a lot of fun because I entitled it, Would Jesus Get Along With? Because I want to really put in quite a few things. Morning, morning, Matt. Welcome to the show, man. I really want this to be something that's going to be a lot of fun to talk
Yeah, I
about.
hope so, because you're surprising me with all of these things. I'm just letting everybody know. I don't know what's going on today. He's gonna surprise, and we're gonna hit this. This is gonna be some fun.
Yeah, because I said, you know what? Let's actually do something that's a little bit different. It's fun, and it actually will provoke some thinking. So I want to start off and get the more of the serious one out the way first. And I want to talk about, because you mentioned this morning, can we talk about Christmas and the misconceptions of Christmas? And I want to dare you to say, would Jesus get along with Christmas?
Whoa,
You
that's
see what I
not
did there?
exactly where I was going with that, but that's really good. Would Jesus get along with Christmas? What year? 2000. We're in 2023.
23.
Anno
Yep.
Domini. So the way that I look at it, and I did a video on this on my own channel. It's sometimes we miss the point of things, and
Hmm.
if we believe that Jesus would be, vehemently against this and that, I think we confuse him with the Pharisees as far
Hmm.
as certain legalistic policies. Jesus overlooked a lot. You got to remember, Jesus was the only one walking around with the Holy Spirit and dwelt in him, right? Not the Holy Spirit comes upon him for a while, like with John the Baptist and his parents, things like that.
Or Samson.
Samson. Yeah, we're not talking about that. We're talking about indwelt, like we have him now, and no one else had that. So imagine how much he had to overlook just to be in conversation with people. So I look at, is God going to be petty with certain things, or pedantic, as you would say, in with certain words, or is he going to overlook that in order to have a relationship? And people are like, no, God's not going to overlook sin. Okay, not everything is a sin. God overlooks a lot to have a relationship with me. There are a lot of things that I have in my life that I'm even unaware of that God doesn't really care about. You know, God doesn't care about football. If anything, football is corrupt and it doesn't. So shouldn't you be preaching against football? Shouldn't God be preaching against basketball or wrestling or any sport? Because the way that we do it, shouldn't God be preaching about um there's all types of movies. Do you watch any movies? Look at what happens in movies. Look at what happens in certain video games. Well, the video games I play don't do that. That's not the point. If it's Christmas itself, right, you might not be celebrating the paganness of Christmas. You might not be worshiping trees
Saturnalia and
or
stuff like that.
talking in Saturnalia, or you understand that Jesus wasn't born on December 25th, but you're just choosing this day to get together with family, have dinner, thank God that you're able to get together and just fellowship. But on this day, the pagan gods say that they were born. You're not talking about pagan gods. You're talking about Jesus, and you're thankful for him and what he's done and your family. So if that be the case, what are you looking for in that family to be so evil? Well, you guys are getting together and you're fellowshipping. That's evil. Well, yeah, because other gods do that. Well, then why does you celebrate church then? Because you're getting together and you fellowship. No. Why are you using
Let's take the
the word Sunday? Pagan gods use the word Sunday. Jews don't use it. If you go back to the Bible, you can't use the days of the week. You can't use the months of the January, February. You can't use any of that. You
those are
know,
Greek. Those are Greek. The names of Greek gods.
yeah, Thor, Thursday, Frigga, right? Freya, right? Saturn. All these. There's so many ways that we can nitpick on what's not biblical. You know what I mean? Even
We
pronouncing Jesus's name the way Jesus, that's not how they said his name. So are we
can
gonna
say
you going to hell
Yeshua.
for that too? You know, I mean, like there's a lot that we can get on. And I just say, you know what? I think Jesus would just sit down, eat, and have a good time.
I think that's another thing I wanted. I'm glad you said that because we have to understand that the American culture derives from a lot of Roman and Egyptian traditions. If you really
Hmm.
break down the American culture, derives from Roman and Egyptian cultures, which were at its best abominable Bible wise. So the question is, how does one walk biblically sound, biblically sound in today's day and age if they're born in America? Well, I'll say a good place to start will be the book of Romans. You look at the book of Romans, you look at Romans 12, 1 and 2. You know, you have to offer your bodies as this is your reasonable service, right?
Hmm.
And then it says, be not conformed to this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind so that you can understand that good and perfect will of God. We know that. But what does it truly mean to offer your body as a living sacrifice unto God? Let's rewind that. Let's rewind back to that spot right there.
Hmm.
Because what's part of your body? Your mind and your mouth. What you think about, what you're saying. So what are you really thinking about your neighbor? Hmm.
Hmm.
Are you thinking that you're above your neighbor, or are you esteeming your neighbor better than yourself?
No, we're above our neighbor because we don't celebrate that Christmas stuff. You know, like we don't, and I used to, and I get it. I used to be very, very, very I'll say anal about those things. There were no celebrations in the Christmas
Same.
in the Smith house. We're not putting up a tree, and I grew up with
You
a
got a tree
tree.
with
My
Sonic
parents didn't.
a Sonic ornament.
Yeah, like and I just told my wife I was very, forceful with it. I'm the head of the house. We're not putting up a tree. No Valentine's Day. You know where that comes from. We didn't do. No, I mean we didn't do anything because if it wasn't, the only celebration that we had was Pentecost. There's church. That's it. We're going to church. We're just doing that. But in the house, it was to the point to where the main reason as to why we have Jesus is to learn to love your neighbor. And my wife was my closest neighbor, but I was kind of very forceful with her as far as, look, we're just not doing anything because, and I'm not telling people that they have to celebrate. I don't celebrate the origins of anything. I know the origins. I get it. I know where the mistletoe comes from. I know where all of this stuff is. I'm not telling you that you have to believe in Santa Claus and all of that. We don't do Santa Claus in my house. We, but the idea of coming together and just having fellowship and we exchange gifts from each other and we tell each other that we love each other. We also help those who don't have. If you don't have anywhere for Christmas, there are some times where we just invite people just to come and we'll get them a gift. Why? Because you want to show love to people. Go to a soup kitchen, do that. Well, why would
The
you do that on Christmas? Because it's Christmas, like especially in the winter season. People get depressed. People get suicidal during
this is the most
the
time of
winter
the year where
season.
it happens too.
Yeah. So why not use that as an excuse to go love somebody? Or are you going to spend your actual time that you can't get back to make sure that you preach about a scripture in Jeremiah or like Jesus wasn't actually born on December 25th. Jesus wasn't born on any Roman months. Like so what are you spending your time doing? Are you spending your time fulfilling the commission by loving people and making disciples, or Are you spending your time making sure that you correct everybody? Because that's not exactly the way that it was done 2,000 years ago. Meanwhile, you're actually going on a date. You know, they didn't have dates 2,000 years ago either. They didn't have boyfriend and girlfriend. They didn't have
They
that.
didn't.
You know, they had arranged
They didn't.
marriages. Is your marriage arranged? Oh, you're not doing it the way that, you know what I mean? Like, I think we're kind of missing the point, and we're harping on things that are not salvational issues, but we're harping on things that are cultural issues. You know, if something is a sin, of course we shouldn't do it. But some things are just not
Secondary.
sin. If I see somebody watching a football game, I'm not really into it. I'm not. But am I going to tell them, you know, that's not how the Jews would do things, right? You know, they didn't have that sport. This sport is corrupted. You know, let me show you a movie about it. Let me show you a TikTok on it. Let me show you a YouTube that I found on the corruptions of, you know. And do you know they use pig skin from that? You know, the pig is a abominable animal. You know, you can't have that.
Swine on your leather, my brother.
Yeah, you know, like it's that's swine. You know, let me tell you. You know, so it's just like I think we're harping on things that are just kind of, you're missing the point and you're breaking up families. And meanwhile, somebody's committing suicide after watching your video because you didn't show up, and just give them a call and say hi, and just say, how you doing? Just say, hey, Merry Christmas, man. I was thinking about you, you know? So that's my take on that. I know we took some time, but I really believe that we have to really just, yeah, right, being together and just love each other, man. Like, it's all right, man. Get your kid an action figure or something. You know what I mean? Just get them something to show them that you love them. And it doesn't have to be on Christmas. You know, Christmas is particularly hard in my house because we get each other stuff all the time. We love each other. So Christmas is just another reason to just love each
Another
other.
opportunity.
It's just another opportunity, you know? So
If
if you're loving people all the time, then Christmas should just be another excuse.
I have something that I want to add to that, but I want to read off Taiwan's comment, Jessica's second comment. She said, when we spend Christmas at home, we invite people who we know will just be sitting at home alone. And that's such a beautiful thing that y'all do, because this is what happens when people are in isolation. Oftentimes they go into more deeper depression. This is, I was just talking about this with a friend this morning. I
Yeah.
said the law of entropy could be seen in so many different things. It's not even funny. What happens when you leave somebody who's depressed by themselves? They go deeper in that mode. What happens when you leave someone who is anxious by themselves? They get into more anxiety. What happens when you leave a child, a baby, untrained? They go into more disorder. So it's like when you see somebody who is not doing well, it's great to always, greet them. And then Jessica said, Amen, Taiwan, that's great. When we lived in Virginia, we went out on Christmas Day to look for some people on the street and such. It was a great experience to pray for them and give them some good food.
She
And that's
gets it.
amazing, Jess. That's amazing.
She
Because
gets it.
that's what it is. It's like this is the season of giving, but in many cases, the media has portrayed it on receiving. So, would Jesus be against Christmas per se? Not exactly. But would he be against the media and the culture behind receive,
Gimme,
receive,
gimme, gimme.
receive? Gimme? Yes, he would not get along with that. But I do want to point out something scripturally. If we look at Jesus' track record, Jesus wasn't somebody who said, you got to follow this and follow this and follow this and follow this to the T 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 to the T. He offered more love and more grace than anything
Mhm.
else. And that's where it is. It's like, if anything, he went to the house and people were eating and drinking. And they,
Mhm.
listen, they weren't drinking Kool-Aid, y'all.
So
They were drinking. They would drink. Matter of fact, they were drinking Kool Aid. They were drinking grown folk Kool Aid. If there's
yeah,
children
they was
watching, I know what I'm
drinking
listening.
Kool-Aid, all right. They was
They was drinking grown folk Kool Aid, and
and
Jesus was in the
Jesus
same.
would have had to, because of Jewish feasts, Jesus would have had to have drank wine. So I'm not saying, and I am not pushing alcohol. There is zero alcohol in the Smith house. Zero. There's zero alcohol, zero drugs. We don't do that. What I am saying is that sometimes we harp on certain things when I'm like, because of Jewish feast, Jesus would have had to have drunk. I'm not saying Jesus got drunk. I'm not saying that Jesus was going around getting buzzed and
Wasn't.
and let me just have a beer. Jesus wasn't like that. What I'm saying is that on certain feasts, he would have had to have partaken by, he would have had to have done that. Not so I really believe that Jesus would have had to have taken some sips in order to fulfill the Jewish feasts so that he did not break the law. But to someone else, fulfilling that would be taboo. How dare you? You can't have that, And I'm like, so some people even look at church. Some churches, when they do communion, they actually have wine for their communion. That was a church that I went to. They had actual wine for the communion. And I'm like, all right, I used to blasphemy, but I'm like, you know what? For those who used to be ex-alcoholics, and they just don't want that, that's fine. But for those who it's not doing anything for, that's fine too. I just don't find reasons to separate and isolate yourself. Don't find reasons to do it, because there's already enough breaking us apart.
Just to even add on to that, and good morning, Charity, by the way. Good morning, everyone who's here. Good morning, Taiwan. Good morning, Charity. Good morning, Jess. Good morning, Matt. If I haven't said y'all names already. Well, y'all free to talk with us. The conversation. Just last weekend, when my best friends got married and everything, and to celebration for a toast, they were all having shots. I didn't get a shot glass. I just got lemonade and just toasted with them.
There you go.
I still give a toast.
Yeah.
I still give a toast. But I give a toast with a beverage of my choice. So it's like, in that case, here's the thing. Right there, as an example. Do you condemn the people toasting with alcohol? Or do you still find a way to show love?
Yeah. There's the ways to do it. Now, I got to bring it up, though, because we're talking about would Jesus get along? Right? We're not saying go to the club. If you go into
not
the
saying
club,
that at all.
Sin. All right, that's
a
sin. So no, I'm not. Well, I'm not actually dancing with them. No. It's not.
No.
There's a difference between going to a wedding that has some shots of alcohol there and going to a place that's designed for sin. You're gonna go to
the wedding is not designed for that.
Yeah, you're gonna go to the Playboy Mansion too? No. Well, I'm just gonna go minister over there. I hear people do that. I'm going to minister over there. No, you're not.
Yeah. I'm sure you are. I'm sure that's what you're doing over there.
So don't think. Well, Yofi and Abaddon said that you're supposed to show love. So I'm
no. That's not the type of serving we're talking about doing. No.
Yeah.
The
only time where Christians should ever listen. The only time where a Christian should ever go to the club. I just want this to be on video. The only time a Christian should ever go to the club is to rip the microphone from them and tell everybody in there to repent. That should be the only reason. Stop acting. Well, I'm just, my friends, and we just going to get a couple drinks. But no.
Because you have to ask yourself. And many people say it's like there's a ministry there. It's like if that isn't on the way and leading people away from there.
Yeah.
Because that's like. Okay, I'm gonna give an example of what that is, and then we'll get to the fun part. That's like staying in Sodom and saying like, nah, we're leading people and telling people all about, and you're staying in Sodom, not leading people away out of the way. And just by example, what happened when Lot lived in Sodom? When Lot lived in Sodom, what was changing?
His family.
And how much of it, and really, if you go there, if we were to take it there, how much of his family actually changed?
Well, his wife definitely changed.
Stop. No.
Chemical changes and
oh man.
It's
She
just
she
like that. I really wanted to get that because people use
she
that a
she
lot.
was
They're like,
salty for real.
you know, yeah, she was salty. You know, well, Jesus hung out with sinners, and I always correct. I was just like, no,
No,
sinners
sinners
hung
hung
out
out
with
with
him.
Jesus.
I was like, there's a big difference between you inviting somebody over to your place and you going to the club. I was like, that's you. What it's about baptism. It's about immersion. If you are going into the club, you are baptizing yourself in that environment. Whereas if the sinners come to you, they're baptizing themselves in your environment.
they
There's a
have
complete difference. All right.
they
Jesus did
have
not hang out with
territorial
sinners. Stop saying that.
they have territorial jurisdiction by you going there. By you going there, they have territorial jurisdiction of how your soul will react.
Hmm.
And that is something that is not talked about enough. It's like we just think that, oh, because we're here, I'm the light. So if I go here, I'm gonna shine. No, doesn't work that way. Because principalities, root word principle is if this thing is the head of what's going on here, you by yourself, if you leave your jurisdictional spot to go someplace else, then you're leaving the source of where you're plugged into because you're only a light by what you're plugged into. And if you're
Hmm.
not plugged into the source and you leave the source to go someplace else, say, hey, I still carry the source with me, that light is gonna go dead like a cell phone battery.
You're a cop that's out of his jurisdiction. So some of your things aren't going to work in certain environments. Not to say that Jesus is not king over the club. You know, as I said, there are times where you have to go in. You know, if I have to save a life,
Hmm.
if I have to do all these things, I'm not saying I'm just not going to go in. You know, that would be like if there was a bomb. What was that movie? There's a bomb, but it's in the women's bathroom. We can't go in there. Yeah, well, you're going to save a life. I understand that, but
Exactly.
you have to think of decorum. You got to think of a lot of things. So it's just like, just be careful. People are going to certain, like, conventions that start with certain words, p words that I'm not going to say. You're going to go to that convention because God called me there. God had never do you never see God called us to be like Jesus, and Jesus wasn't going to no brothel to preach. I was just like, it never happened. It never happened. None of the apostles did it. None of the converts. So just let's cut that out. So we have to get
So
that balance. I think that that's important to talk about that because we're talking about Christmas, we're talking about things. Just because I'm saying that we're fellowshipping in Christmas and things like that, that doesn't mean that this is an endorsement for sin. So we have to, I think that that's an important thing for everyone to realize. Know what is sin, and the Holy Spirit leads us away from sin. But other things are cultural, and some things are not. Jesus just wouldn't, jump on, get on them, you know, stop watching that football. Do you know what that football does? Okay, calm down. How about you give an analogy with
easy
football?
there, buddy.
Yeah. Like
But
I've preached the gospel using Dragon Ball Z before and gotten people actually to give their lives to Christ using the Cell Saga of Dragon Ball Z. That's another video. But, it's just, why don't you just do that instead of just talking about, well, that key stuff? That's the 7 chakra points and all that. I get it. I know it's evil. I don't do it. I'm not gonna do it. But I can use that as an analogy and show people the truth. So that's just what I'm saying. Like, don't think that, oh, if you go anywhere near it, it's gonna corrupt you. Even in Leviticus in the Old Testament, they said that anything that touches the altar of God gets purified. Not the altar of God gets corrupted. They should be
mm,
purified by you, not you corrupted by them. What kind of Holy Spirit do you have if every single time that any demon comes around, you get infected and possessed and you need, you know, I need deliverance every 5 minutes. I need more and more deliverance because demons are around. I was just like, well, I guess your Holy Spirit doesn't have any power because, you just keep spending your whole life running from them, and I'm sorry. Look,
let's
let's get back on.
let's move forward. Charity, we're talking about would Jesus get along with an insert topic here. So we start off with Christmas. Would Jesus get along with Christmas? That led into a 25-minute rabbit hole down a whole bunch of other things. But we wanted to go into superheroes and things of that nature, just as a fun Christmas stream. Just talking to you all. So I wanted to ask you. You brought up Goku, so I wanted to ask: would Jesus get along with Goku? And
No.
we look at
Well,
Goku's
which Goku?
character.
Which Goku? We talking?
No,
We,
yes, we're bringing up
we
the
talking?
entire. We're talking the
All right.
entirety from
If you're
Dragon Ball
talking
to
Dragon,
Z to Super.
if you're talking Dragon Ball Goku, yes, that's a child. Okay, right? He's 12. He didn't even know anything, right? And you know, there's some
Chat.
things about him that Jesus would have to. Who is Goku? Remember, who is it? King Cole. What's a Goku? All right, so
What's a Goku?
I think that as a child, even though we know what Goku is, Jesus would still be able to minister to him. Dragon Ball Z, kind of okay. When you get into like Super Saiyan type stuff, at that point, well, all right, that's gonna be the next one, Mickey Mouse.
That's next one. Yeah, that's next one.
No. GT Goku, I think Jesus would get along with, because GT Goku is even to the point to where he's going to sacrifice his own. He after the Cell Saga, Goku kind of got into this idea of sacrificing himself for the sake of others, and that's what love is. So it's like, why am I leaving? Why is Goku leaving at the end of GT? Because if I stay here, evil is always coming to impact the earth. That's not right. I need to, as much as I love fighting, it's like, that's not good for the earth. So I'm gonna go train with the dragon. I'm gonna go somewhere else. So train with the dragon, right? How do we bringing up the dragon? We're gonna go into Revelation. But you see how I'm kind of like turning a blind eye and a deaf ear to some things in order to make this work. But yeah, as far as Super Goku, Jesus would be vehemently against. I mean,
I knew it. I was waiting for it.
Because
I was waiting for it.
You got to know what Goku is, y'all. Like, any being that comes from the skies and starts taking Earth women to have children with, that's not a good thing. If
that sounds strangely familiar
like Genesis.
I think Genesis 6,
kind of.
6?
Yeah. That caused the flood of the whole world, because there were beings coming from up here, coming to Mount Hermon and kind of taking Earth women, like, it's not a good thing. So I don't think Jesus would get along with Goku and Superman too much, it's
Superman's gonna be next on my list.
Superman's next.
Now, actually, no, Batman was next. Superman would Jesus get along with Batman?
Absolutely,
and that would have been fun.
Jesus would get along with Superman before he gets along with Batman.
He would. Yeah, he would.
Batman is Satan. Like,
Batman says, what does that Batman say? He says, what did he say? He is, I am vengeance.
I am vengeance.
I am the night.
I
am Batman. Like, what?
Perfect love casts out. That's scripture.
Yep.
Perfect love casts out fear. Batman's like, hold on, don't cast out fear. I need it because that's my main weapon. What? You're using fear as a weapon? That's not the way that God works. That's the opposite. That's the way Satan works. And Batman's like, fine, good. I am darkness. I'm like, no, you are crazy. You need therapy. That's what you spend your money to dress up as a giant bat and go in the street and beat up people because they don't have the money that you have. Like, when you spell it out, it really sounds bad. People up who are poor. I was just like, why are you doing this? Well, it's crime and you're doing evil. Half of those people are doing evil because they don't have jobs. Why don't you give them a job? No, I'm just spending my money to beat them up. To throw a battery at him. What?
Yo, hey y'all, this is all jokes and everything with some of these people. I love these things, but I did want to get the Charity's suggestion though. She said, "Would Jesus get along with Mickey Mouse?" That's a good one. No. I'm gonna say no as well, but why would you go first?
Mickey Mouse is Illuminati. We're not gonna go into this. Mickey Mouse is Illuminati. That's Illuminati money. Disney's Illuminati money.
Mickey Mouse is Illuminati. Listen.
Same with Mario. same with Mario. They just
If
two
you
Illuminati.
like Mickey Mouse, listen, Mickey Mouse and Mario are cousins, okay? Mario is Japan's Mickey Mouse. That's all Mario is. Mario
No,
is Japan's
Pikachu.
Mickey Mouse.
Pikachu is Japan's Mickey Mouse.
No.
Pikachu is
I
Japan's
say
Mickey Mouse.
Mario. I say Mario. You know why I say Mario? Here's the
He's a
thing.
guest star.
I hate to say this. I hate to say this. You go call it petty, but watch how I'm saying this. Mario and Mickey Mouse both wear the white gloves.
That's fair. Touche.
they both wear the white gloves. They both represent. Matter of fact, instead of Disneyland, what does Japan have now? Mario Land.
Yeah, I mean that's what Nintendo. Nintendo's going to
Yeah,
charge you extra
Nintendo
money.
Land.
They're going to do all that stuff, and you're going to buy their stuff. So it's just like, as a matter of fact, in order to represent the Olympics, the mascot in Tokyo, Japan was Mario. Like he's no, they say Mario. It's supposed to be Mario, whatever. I don't care. But
I say Mario comes
I
from New
don't
York.
think that if Mickey Mouse was an actual character, just because of what Disney represents, especially Disney's very woke right now, and Jesus would be,
They're actually.
huh?
Did you hear that? Did you hear they're actually considering changing their model because of their sales fluctuating a lot? It's been
Oh, it
reported.
only took them to lose several $billion before you realize that this liberal movement is not right. The whole, we're gonna preach against racism and we're gonna replace all of our men with women, and I'm just like, oh, okay, well, how's that working out for you?
Yeah, but go ahead. You were
That's
saying
why I
your
don't
point.
think if they were if Mickey Mouse were to represent all of that, I don't think Jesus would be with him. I know that it's like and a utility polyester suit. Now, you talking about Batman, but
Mhm.
no, if Mickey Mouse were to represent all of the ideals of the liberal movement that's going on right now, I don't, and I know that seems political, and I know that when you speak politically, people kind of, get very uptight and things. But Jesus would not be on the left. He would not be supporting anything that the liberal movement is doing right now. There is
He
nothing
wouldn't.
LGBT, all this stuff. Jesus wouldn't be for any of that. That he would be speaking against
No.
because um, what the liberal movement right now is doing is representing death. If everybody joins this movement, we're dead in the next 50 to 60 years. The whole human race is dead. But if everybody were to join Jesus's movement, we'd all be prosperous. We'd all actually have more finances, more emotional stability, more love, care for your neighbor. People would be going to the soup kitchens. After a while, it'd be very hard to find people who are homeless because everybody's going to be looking out for them. Everybody's going to be looking out for true religion, which is orphans and
Ooh.
widows. So I'm like,
Why?
the
Watch
liberal
this
movement
now.
doesn't talk about that.
Watch this now. Now, you ready? I got my tinfoil hat on right now. I got my
Here we go.
tinfoil hat. That's how you depopularize humanity.
Yeah.
There's an agenda to depopularize the human race because we're quote unquote overpopulated, but it is written to be fruitful and multiply, but we are overpopulated.
Yeah.
God says
Global
be
warming.
fruitful and multiply. God says be fruitful and multiply. He didn't say be fruitful and multiply until this many are on the earth.
Yeah. It's
He
not
said
even
be fruitful and
if we had every single person standing up side by side, we could all fit in Los Angeles. We are not affecting the earth. We think that the earth is going to explode. Okay, Bill Nye, whatever. You're following Bill Nye. He's not even a real scientist. He had a TV show.
or
And
Bill
all of a
Gates
sudden,
or Bill
Gates.
Gates.
He's not I'm like, God is the scientist here. He knows exactly what's going on. He says that the earth will have seasons. The earth is not, we're not affecting the earth on that scale. But, we have these movements that say we're destroying the earth and what it's doing. And this is what I believe Disney is kind of representing with this. And this is why I believe that Jesus wouldn't get along with a Mickey Mouse. Not necessarily his character as far as, being nice to people, but the movement of Disney itself is because we have people who basically what you do is you have issues that you can address that are in your life. And you don't want to do that. They're too difficult for you to look in the mirror and address those issues. So we kind of adopt these pseudo moralistic stances on global scale issues that you can't really do anything about, so that you look morally superior to everyone around you. That's what we're doing. It's just like, I care about global warming. It's pride, because you want people to see you caring about an issue that you really can't do anything about, because the only thing that you do with these issues is point at everybody else, right? When you look at a
And say
majority of
everyone else
these
is wrong.
issues, you're pointing at other people and you're saying the reason as to why it's bad is because they are doing this. And that's what Adam did. God, you put this woman here. Woman, what's going on? Oh, the serpent did. You're pointing the finger and you're saying it all would be better if they did this. And what are you forgetting to mention? You
Yourself.
ate the fruit. So that's what I think that a lot of
What
these
did you
global
do?
scale issues
What did
are.
you
Is
do
just trying
to
to look
bring this?
superior. Yeah, what can you do? Can you clean up your house? Can you love your husband, wife? Can you do that? You know, can
Or
you
husband?
love your
Matter of fact, hold on. I
wife?
want to
Yeah,
fix it.
what about
I want
that?
to go biblical. Let's go biblical. Let's keep it biblical. Husband, can you love your wife? Wife, can you
Can you
respect
love
your
your wife?
husband?
Yeah.
And wife, can you respect your husband?
Can you respect
Because
your husband? Well, no, I
I
need
want
something to submit to. No, no, no. Submit to your husband. Not if,
respect.
well, submit to your husband unless he's, no, that's not what he says. All right.
Okay,
Husbands,
love
love your
your
wife.
wife
Well,
regardless.
unless he's,
No,
love your wife,
unless.
period.
And here's the thing: if those are commands, then love and respect are not emotional; they're actions.
Yeah. But if I take
Show
up
me your
a
respect.
moralistic
Show me
stance
your
of
love.
superiority, right? If I take up, you're right, show it, show, don't tell. But if I take up this stance of superiority and just say, well, I'm doing everything that I can, look at how messed up my wife is, look at how abusive my husband is. Now we got Christian counseling. You know what I mean? Like read the Bible. That's
Which,
your, I'm not saying that you shouldn't receive counsel. I'm just saying there are people who are making a lot of money off of issues that shouldn't be, so
but
that,
you know,
where does that come from? It comes from
but
this
but
idea of pointing the finger at others.
but you know what though? Here's and you, because you know what I do and everything. You know I deal with coaching and everything. I'm gonna give another perspective on that, because I will say I would rather there be a Christian counselor than a
Hmm.
worldly counselor for a Christian couple. I would
Oh yeah.
much
Well,
rather
what I mean
a
is the
Christian.
professional, like psychological type stuff. Everyone should have
Yeah,
a counselor in that sense. Everybody should be able to call a pastor, to call up
yeah,
the accountability. Yeah, excuse me for that.
but
I don't think that that's my point.
yeah, but I would even say even with that, you should always call your pastor, but that pastor, in the event, some pastors, because you're a different case. But what about the pastors who don't have the skill set to guide that couple to where they need to go? Hire someone, a professional who you know could guide you to that place. You know what? I want you to talk to this person, and let's just say it does cost you a pretty penny to get your marriage together. But is it worth it? Is it worth
Oh yeah.
paying this person a few $1,000s versus the tens of thousands of dollars it'll cost you in divorce and
All right, I can
heartache?
understand your point with that. I'm not for the
I know.
professional. See, because now we're getting into Christmas, right? I'm not for the professional, charging for this type of. I mean, you should charge. Even with counseling, you should pay the people who are counseling you. I do believe in that. I'm talking about, this is my job, and this is what's actually going to pay the bills. I'm just going to go to people who are broken and try to fix them, type things. I've seen predators do that. So I
Now
am
there,
leery of that,
yeah,
but I understand
yeah.
what you're saying. And now we're getting into the culture, right? We're getting into Christmas. It's not a salvation issue. So I do believe that, you're right. You should pay somebody to do that. So once again, we're into the culture aspect, not the salvational aspect of it. If somebody is a Christian counselor, does that mean that we're talking hellbound and we shouldn't do it? No,
No,
it's something like that. Now, for me as a pastor, I do a lot of stuff for free. And I'm like, I
and
can take advantage of it and make a lot of money off it. And I see a lot of people. I was just like, are you sure that you're doing this because you care about the people, or are you doing this because you're getting a big
but
check?
why? But you see, now watch this. Now watch this. I'm a challenge something, and I'm glad this is a great conversation. I want to challenge something. You actually help. I'm gonna make a controversial comment, and I'm gonna back it up. You show you care for somebody by charging them.
Oh yes.
Let me let me validate this. Does a father show he cares for his children by always giving them the answer for free, or does he allow them to work towards the solution if he sees it's in their grasp?
That depends.
If
Okay. If your
it's in
child
their
is
grasp,
four, yeah, if it's in their
if it's
grasp.
in their
If your child
grasp,
is like 4, it's like,
or
yeah,
and
you
they're
can
not up
give
for it,
them,
they will do it for you. We'll do it for you, of
yeah.
course.
But
But
as
if it's
especially for a son, right? You've got to start, and this is for single mothers too, right? Like, stop making your son your friend. Start having him, because when he gets about 12, 13, that to the Jews, you're getting a job, right? You're getting a profession.
hmm
So start having your son do things for you. Start having him, carry the heavy stuff. Start teaching him all these things. Start giving him responsibilities, because he's seeking that. He wants to be a man. But if you're just like, oh, I'm the head honcho, what's happening is that son's going to go out and try to prove himself a man because he can't do it in his own house. So we have to really consider, like, yes, you want to train your children in that aspect. You want to do that. You want to push them out, and by giving them everything, they're not going to be trained. If you're just like, I'll do it, I'll do it, I'll do it, you're not doing it right, so I'm going to do it. Now you got 18-year-olds that can't even, wash dishes. You know what I mean? Like, no,
Yeah.
you got to.
Now, now in that same light, what you said, that what happens when you just give a service to free for somebody for counseling? All they're going to do is just come right back to you for free
Mhm.
as a soundboard, and there's no real training
Yep.
to do.
Yeah,
Now, if
yeah.
I if
And
I pay,
now
if
that
they
you run, oh,
pay
I'm
for
sorry.
it,
Go ahead.
hold on, wait. Now if they pay for you and they do the training, they benefit.
Hmm.
They see the benefit. It's like, okay, now they know they care. It's like you are showing them that they care. It's like, this is going to cost you, because
Hmm.
now there's a level of seriousness there, that you know what, I spent this much, I'm invested, I want to make sure and see this works.
Yeah, I
That
believe that
separates the
that's a
people
mental
who, yeah,
concept. That's a mental concept that we have to understand in America. In other
yeah,
countries, we wouldn't be having this discussion on that, because they understand the concept of what is valuable. Like in
exactly.
America, we have everything at our fingertips that are pretty much given to us. You don't have any money, go to social services, they'll give you some money. You having kids out of wedlock in sin, well, you know what? Tell you what, the government's going to give you money. If you're married and you have kids, government's not going to give you money. So I'm like, we have a lot of things that are just given to us, so we kind of feel entitled to just receive it. You know, you don't have any money. Here's a credit card. You could just spend thousands of dollars and you don't have to pay it back until, God knows when. So we kind of lose that concept of people are valuable, you know. So
People are wealth.
I do agree with everything that you're saying. Where I was coming from was just the other side of the
Yeah,
predatorial,
yeah, the
um,
predatorial side.
people
And
taking advantage of someone.
I know where you're coming from, but I wanted you to have a chance to explain your mindset more, because I know that's not what you meant, and I know it's like the predatorial side. Yeah, there are people out here who will prey upon people who don't have the money and try to convince them that, hey, you need this thing. And I say that to those people, shame on you.
Yeah,
You shouldn't use
especially if
your
you call
business
yourself a Christian.
exactly. You Shame on you as a Christian trying to profit off people who don't got it. Now, if you know people who got it and everything, and you know people can't afford it, you're in within their means, then yeah, there should be an equal balance. But
Yeah.
And that's just the course. That's just the course of business. Because in order for you to do more and more good in the world, in order for you to do, you know what, Cindy, I'm used to Facebook now. If these are stars, I thank you so much. I can't see the amount right now, but thank you so much for your donation. I really do appreciate you. Um, when it comes to working as a business, if you want to continue to do more good in the world, there's going to be a need enough of financial backing for you to do that more often.
Mhm.
There's
Yeah.
there has to be an exchange, just like for you, all the hard work you do. Matter of fact, it actually, if we talk about Jewish traditions, it actually goes against Jewish traditions to be hired for something that you just do over and over again that doesn't add to your life. It
Yeah.
actually goes against Jewish tradition.
It actually goes
So
against Christian tradition as
tradition,
well. If you're a
it does.
Christian and you're looking for the cheapest way, hey, let me get a discount. Well, you're affecting that man's business. Oh, well, he
Hmm.
can afford it. It's not the point of whether he can afford it or not. The point is that if he's giving you a service, then the Bible talks about how the servant is worthy of his hire. So if you've got
Yep.
a pastor and you're actually not giving offering, you're actually cheating the that pastor out of the work that he does for you. So if you got to remember, you're calling the pastor 12 o'clock. You're calling the pastor on Christmas, anytime where you feel depressed, anytime where anything like that happens. And Tom was like, and his wife. Uh, yeah,
Yeah.
just got a call last night, like so. And it's not that I mind doing anything for anybody. It was a Christmas party, we were there, we were fellowship with some people that we haven't seen in a while. And I missed a good chunk of that party because some people needed ministry right then and there. And I don't mind doing it. I love doing that. But do you know what I love about the people who called, and I'm not going to mention them by name, but they're so honorable that they're like, we're paying you for this. We're going to pay you. Anytime that we do this, we're going to pay you. And I'm like, I used to just not accept it. But God also told me that was cheating them. If you turn down someone's offering,
That part.
you're cheating them. So if they want
That
to honor
part.
you by giving you an offering, you take it. So I had to start taking it and just saying, I appreciate it. Thank you
Was
for
that
your offering.
was that ringtone what I thought it was?
Kim Possible.
Yes.
Yeah, I got that on my phone.
Shout out to Kim Possible. Would Jesus get along with Kim Possible?
Whoa, that's a good one. I mean, she's not. She's just trying to help people, and she's using her resources to help people. She's not really doing anything, wrong. You know what I mean? Like it's kind of, you know, I'd say yeah. I
I
get.
don't think I don't see how he would.
I don't see how he wouldn't get along with Kim Possible. I think he'd get along with Kim Possible before he gets along with Goku.
You're in here. Jesus would get along with Kim Possible before he gets along with Goku. I'm
You
clipping
heard
that.
it here first. You heard it. You heard it here only. Nobody's talking about that.
Cindy said, I agree. We have a financial responsibility to support God's workers. Absolutely. And
Mm-hmm.
right there, what Cindy said is key. It's our responsibility to support God's workers because if here's the thing, and the reason why I really want to highlight Cindy's comments because we have to understand this from the perspective of kingdom. A kingdom only works when the people of the kingdom support each other. The problem with America is we are constantly going from kingdom to kingdom to kingdom and not focus on the kingdom of God.
So would
So,
Jesus get along with you? Mm.
ooh, would Jesus get along with Goofy?
Well, that depends on which Goofy.
I'm biased. I'm biased because the Goofy movie is one of my favorite movies of all time. So
Yeah.
I'm a little biased when it comes to Goofy. I
If
love a
it
Goofy
comes
movie
to a Goofy movie, then yeah. A Goofy
all the
movie
time.
is actually one of my top 50 movies of all time, actually. And I know that people I want to do an actual series on certain movies, but anything that has to do with fatherhood is gonna be in my top 50. So there were a couple of things in there as to why I believe that Jesus would get along with Goofy in that movie. And if
And
anybody, this is for
specifically,
you, Charity, specifically when Max changed the map, right? Spoiler alert for anybody who hasn't seen a Goofy movie. You know,
man,
when
I'm,
Max
I'm,
changed
I
the
have to go
map
watch that movie.
and destroy that. We could talk about it afterwards. I know we don't have much time, but when Max changed the map and Goofy found out, he trusted his son. He was giving his son responsibility because he's trying to pass the torch. That's what fatherhood is about, so he's trying to train Max up. And when he changes the map and Goofy gets up, he gets angry and pulls over, and Max wants to talk to him, and he's like, and Goofy says something that I don't think anybody really notices. He said, "Why bother? I'm probably too stupid to understand," right? So it's like when you think about that, Max never once called him stupid. It's other people who call Goofy stupid. So imagine Goofy grows up his entire life being called stupid. So if it's one person that he didn't want to have that kind of relationship with, to be treated as if he was an idiot, is his son.
Was his
And his
own
son did
son.
that to him. So it's just like you gotta look at things like that. I look at things like that, even in like cartoons and stuff. That's why I like to preach the gospel using these
He
things.
always
I
felt
was like, Goofy knew
shut
what
out.
people were saying about him. Yeah, he always felt shut out. He's like, I'm probably too
And,
stupid to understand, right? So it's just like you got to think
and
about that.
people hear the thing. People hear the words that people say, and we often think because someone's always laughing behind the insults that we probably say towards them that they're okay with it. And we need to understand that the words we say have power. Like the
Yeah,
words we say affect people, no matter how big the
and the
smile
things
someone
we
has on
do.
their face. No matter how big enough, you're right. No matter how big enough a smile someone has, the words we say affects them and it affects them deeply. And you have to be mindful of the words you say. I'm working on that. I used to be someone who's very sharp with the tongue and quick to the
Yep,
point. And I'm
shoot from the
learning
hip.
to I used to shoot with him all the time, but I'm learning that maybe that's not the best approach. Maybe
Mm-hmm.
that's not Christ-like as much as you think it is. People think Jesus was always quick from the hip. But then I remember the woman caught in adultery, and he didn't even speak up first. He wrote the names in the ground, and then he said,
Yep.
"Whoever is without sin, cast the first stone." He didn't even call out a name. He didn't call out. He gently and calmly just said one thing.
Mm-hmm.
Are there times
Because
where
he
Jesus
found a way
is?
around the law. He found a way around the law of Moses to keep someone alive. That's really he had to think about how this would affect everybody. So
Everything.
that's what I really, that's why I believe, speaking about Goofy, if it's a Goofy movie, yeah, Jesus would get along with him because the father is kind of like that. Like he hears what people say about him, and you think that
Mm,
it doesn't matter. Yeah, it matters what you say to people and to God even. So not to say that God is going to be sad or depressed, but something that happened when they got into a big argument. And the big part, I mean, I'm ready to cry like in this movie, right? Like, I'm a grown man. But when he said, Goofy said, I was just trying to take my boy fishing. And Max said, I'm not your little boy anymore. I've grown up. I have my
ooh,
own life. And Goofy said, I know that. I just wanted to be part of it. Think
ooh,
about a father saying that to his son.
ooh,
That's what God says to us. He's like, I get it.
ooh,
I know that you have free will. I just want to be part of your life.
ooh.
So I'm like,
You
yeah,
taking him
I
to
don't know if
church right
Jesus
now,
would get along
bro?
with that.
Like that.
I'm just, I, I love the gospel, man. I love seeing the gospel in movies, man. I was like, that's the gospel, bro.
It is, and that's why it's top tier because it's like how many people say you have this relationship with God, and let's just personify that. Let's take that personification further. You have the Father inside of you, but imagine on the whole road, the entire trip of every destination you go in your life, you don't even say hi to him. You don't
You
talk
cut
to
him
him.
out. That's what was
You
happening. Is
cut him
that
out.
Mac was cutting his father out of his life. And the moment that he reconciled with with his father, everything changed. I'm like, I was like, that's called the gospel. I was like, I'm not believing that they were trying to write the gospel, but they did. I was just like,
But you
that's
see, but but watch this now. And I'm gonna take it even a step further. I'm gonna say another controversial statement in this stream. You can't have creativity without God. He's
oh
the
yeah,
author of
yeah.
it. He's the author of it. So watch this. When two or more people spend time to create something, but which, by the way, I'm gonna give a nugget. This is where I was gonna start saying in my training. I'll give it to y'all first. You can't call a business your baby because you know how people say, "Oh, that's your baby." You know, you work on your business. How is it your baby if you're the only one working on it? How is it your business if you're the only one working on
Single women, that's not your baby. All right, it
it?
took two people. That's more than one baby.
so
That's one baby. There's more than one person involved.
so
So
that's why I would have put it back. I would have put it back on to the whole fact that we personify the thing. We have God with us. God, it's like we're Max, and it's like God is our passenger in a sense on the ride of our lives, and we don't talk to him, we don't say hi to him, but he's the one fueling the tank. He's the one making sure the car stays well, but you don't even
Mhm.
say hi. You don't even acknowledge him.
Because of how you view him. All right, it was the way that Max viewed his father. He had a beginning nightmare. I was going to go through a whole like series on this with a Goofy movie and other things.
Hmm.
I'm actually thinking of doing it. But
Do it.
Max has a nightmare in the beginning about becoming his father. Like, think about that. We often have nightmares about being like God. Those things are viewed as being bad, giving to people, and I got to give up my stuff for the poor and all of that. Like, that's being like who? Like God. And it's a nightmare to us because it gets in the way of what we want. Yet, when Max became like the father, that's actually what Roxanne liked. She said, I liked you ever since I heard your laugh. And it was Goofy's laugh that Max was doing. So it's like she actually likes the characteristics of your father, and you are having a nightmare trying to be somebody else to get what you want, and it's not working, But when you're
And
like your dad, it works. So, that was just really, there's a lot more in that movie. I
it,
don't want to analyze, deconstruct a Goofy movie, but Charity
listen,
brought it up.
I love it. I love it. I love it because Charity just you just said. I think people limit God to just an emergency use only and don't realize He is relational. Our relationship with Him is our daily bread. See, I'm gonna touch on
Speaking of
something else,
bread,
Charity. Yeah, I was gonna touch on that.
go
I was gonna go in it. I was gonna use it. I was gonna use it. So here's the thing: the making of bread, the making and the breaking of bread is all to be a communal process. Charity just said it. He is our daily bread. Talking with him is our daily bread, meaning you don't just talk and be by yourself. If you go back to Genesis 3, where God said to Adam, by the sweat of your brow you shall eat bread. This was an act of mercy, which should have been a death, because bread, all throughout the Bible, is a good thing. So why would bread be a bad thing if the law first mentioned is true? Then if bread was a bad thing, then bread should have been a bad thing everywhere else in the Bible. But if you reverse engineer it, and if bread is everywhere else in the Bible good, then it had to been good when God was speaking to Adam. And you look at the
why
process
is
of
bread
bread.
good?
Now, if you look at the process of I'm gonna get into that. So here's the thing: when it comes to bread, bread was the first food in the Bible that required to be made. Every other food that Adam had, Adam and Eve, and Adam and woman before she sinned had available to them before they sinned was already ready for them to eat. Apples, bananas, grapes, like leaves, all that was ready for them to eat. They didn't have to prepare it, cook it, or anything. Bread was the first food that had to be made. We read that all the time. By the sweat of your brow, you shall eat bread. But we don't think about, wait a second, that's going to require them to work together to make it together. Because for bread, you have to gather the wheat. Then you need time to grind that wheat into flour. And then somebody has to form that flour up to put it in the oven to make bread, to put it in the fire to make bread.
And when
So,
you put it in the fire, fire causes you to sweat. Sweat of
exactly.
your brow. But the
So,
beautiful
put
thing
all,
about bread, though. Well, go ahead. I don't want to.
oh, yeah, you're good. I was going to just say the last part I was going to say was the beautiful part, the beautiful process about that. That's not a process that's usually done by one person. That's a process done by a community. So, what was God teaching Adam? God was teaching Adam two things. God was teaching Adam the law of you reap what you sow because you didn't appreciate what was in the garden. So, I'm going to show you how to appreciate the things you make. And I'm going to show you how to really work with your wife because you don't know how to work with your wife. If you work with your wife, she wouldn't have been deceived by the enemy. So, I'm going to teach you how to commune with your wife and work together with her so this doesn't happen again. That was the
Mm.
process.
And, and now let's take it further because Jesus is the bread from heaven, right? Think
Hmm.
about what do you do with bread? You eat it, right?
Right.
When was if you got everybody going to work, you've got everybody, the kids are at school and all of these things. But when you break bread, what are you supposed to do when you break bread? You eat together.
Together.
That's a big thing that's being lost in our culture is that I think Jesus would be more about eating dinner together than he would be on Christmas and the eat you break bread together. It's about relationship. That is so vital. If you're eating in your room by yourself, I'm guilty of it. Like I'll just take,
Yeah.
let's put on a video and just eat food by myself. No, eat together. When you break bread, the church, they came together and broke bread. When you have a Christmas party, we had the Christmas party yesterday. What were we doing? Everybody bring a dish because the bread, in that sense, metaphorically, is used as an excuse to commune. It is not good for man to be alone.
Be alone.
Food is an ultimate reason to come together, especially if you have to make it. You see, we got a lot of
Mm.
fast food chains and things right now that
Mm.
that make it to where you can eat alone. You can eat alone. I don't need my neighbor in order to get this because I can just go to this business, pay him $10 and get a burger, and then I'm good, right? But when you're making the food, you come together as a family. And that's what this is supposed to be about. It's supposed to teach you family. What did Cain do? Cain killed his brother.
Family.
Yeah, Vin Diesel. Would God get along with Vin Diesel? Well, I don't know
Yes.
if he'd get along with the concept of family. He'd get along with that. I don't know if he'd get
Yeah.
along with the stuff Vin Diesel does in Fast and the Furious, though. I've seen a couple of clips. I
The
haven't
the
seen.
the, the
I've
race,
never
the high
actually
speed
seen a
racing.
full. I've never actually seen a full Fast and Furious movie. I've never seen a full movie.
I
I've seen just
have.
a couple of
I've
clips.
seen quite a few. I saw the last one too, the part 10. So
I've never seen a full
yeah.
one. Not to say I'm condemning anyone who has. There's a lot of things that I've never seen. So don't.
Listen, I'm gonna say something. Shout to one of my friends because she said it first. Fast and the Furious is basically up there with the Marvel movies in terms of how many movies they've been putting out and how they link all the movies together. Is
Did you
is
see
the
that
action
that
movies?
that you see that one with Vin Diesel on a scooter as an old man?
Yes, I hear what you're like. Fast and the Furious 30. Like what? Like,
Oh man. So
but
there's
yeah,
a there's a lot of things that we can get into. Let's do a lightning round. We're over an hour.
where
So
yeah.
let's end.
Let's. Any last questions? Any last comments before we close it out?
Any last characters?
We flip the phone this way. I gotta charge up the phone.
Because
Any
she
last
already gave a
comments? Any
couple.
last characters?
She
She
did
did.
name a couple.
If I name one, is going to be something that you know what?
We
Would he
got to
get
do
along
lightning
with
rounds.
Billy
Just
G?
yes or no's. Yes or
Yes or
no's. We
no?
just got to do. Yeah.
Would
No
he get along with
explanation.
Billy G? No,
No.
he would not get along with Billie Jean. No. Would he get? Okay, let me ask you. Let me ask you a question. Would he get along with Axel Stone?
No. No way. No. You know, any main character who likes to just beat people up. Hey, look, we got a problem in the street. I know. Go to the streets and beat people up. Oh, no explanations. No explanations. Are you getting Street Fighter? No.
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 Cloud. No.
Which one? Which one? Advent Children Cloud? Yes. Every other Cloud? No. Crisis
Why?
Core Cloud? Yes.
We can't say we can't get no explanations. But I'm curious why Advent Children. I'm curious
because Cloud was struggling with guilt, and he
okay.
guilt, and I believe Jesus would want to help him
Yeah.
with that.
Okay, fair enough.
But as far as Soldier Cloud and he probably cast the demon out of him in Final Fantasy VII. He cast the demon out of him. That's what he'd do.
Let's go to another one. Flash. Both of them. If you want to access one.
Wally West Flash.
Yeah, both of them.
I think he would.
Me too.
Yeah, I know that the Speed Force is supposed to be otherworldly and stuff, but I think that he'd be able to get along with Flash. Yeah.
Look at Journey's comment.
Kirby and deliver him from gluttony. I don't know. Kirby looks like a demon, kind of. Like
Kirby is a marshmallow.
Put some teeth on that thing, and you got like.
So now that we mentioned that, you know what? I will say this person. Marv.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, they're kind of using a bunch of sorcery, and by sorcery, I don't mean medicine-wise. They're kind of like actually teleporting places and fire, and you're getting into a lot of things that you shouldn't. That upside down.
That's why I asked.
Baphomet pentagram type stuff. There's a lot of stuff going on. But as far as his character, he could probably minister to him. Yeah, I don't think that they'd be friends. But
that'd just be someone he ministers to us.
Yeah.
All right, I got a few more. Then we'll call it Snake. I think carefully on that one.
Oh, that's tough.
That's a tough one when you think about it. Because what did he do? He served his country. He
sacrificed his entire life, to
serve his entire country.
And it's not like he just killed people for the sake of killing them. It was a battlefield, so that's not.
It was a battlefield. He was a war. He's a war. He's literally a war veteran.
He's at war. Yeah, so. I can't. I think I know that's controversial because you got guns and killing going on.
Yeah,
but I think that he would.
What do you call somebody who is on a mission at war? As a matter of fact, okay, I got one. We can use it. We can use it. What about I forgot their two names. It wasn't Joshua and Caleb, but Joshua and Caleb sent these two men out to do what?
The two men. What are you talking about? The spies?
The spies. They sent them out, and then they ran away because they said what? The Giants what?
Yeah, we can take them.
No, they said we couldn't. They said we were like grasshoppers to their eyes.
Oh, you're talking about the 10? Yeah.
Yeah, but what were they supposed to do?
They were supposed to just look and see what we can do and tell me, can we take this? And Joshua and Caleb came back and said that we could. In fact, Moses wasn't even supposed to send the spies out there in the first place.
No, was it? This wasn't in. This was, I think, in the book of Joshua. Wasn't it bad that they ran away? They ran away
you're talking about over the Jordan.
Yes.
Oh.
They were supposed to kill them,
Mm. Yeah, that
but
was
they
something
ran
that you're
away.
talking about with
I
I think you're
forgot. Yeah,
talking
I got
about
to
with
mix up.
Moses.
It's it's in
Yeah.
Josh. No, it's in Joshua. They ran away, but they were supposed to
Hmm.
kill them.
Yeah. So, and
So
I know that you're talking about different time period, but the
yeah,
concept of war is actually that. I was actually talking with somebody on YouTube who was desperately trying to convince me that John Walker was committing war crimes because he was killing the flag smashers in that TV show. And I'm like, in the middle of a battle, if you kill somebody, that's not whether you like them or not, that's irrelevant. It's a murder if it's the unjustified killing of another, not in the middle of a battlefield. If you have World War II and Japan is shooting at America and then you shoot people, I was just like, don't tell all of the people in the military that they're going to hell. Don't do that. So, it's like we've got a lot of ambiguity, but Jesus would get along with soldiers who are serving their country if the country is fighting for a righteous cause. I believe that
there you
because
go,
Jesus, you got to look. Well, Jesus would never hurt anybody. Have you read Revelation? Sword from his mouth. I was like, that's a
bruh,
lot of bloodshed that's going to happen there.
bruh.
So and Jesus is the one doing that, not well, God the Father.
It's not.
No,
He's the one leading
Jesus
the
doing that.
war. He's the
Jesus
one
gonna come
leading.
on a white horse. He gonna take a sword and it's gonna look real anime like, and So it's like we have to consider that if there's a soldier. See, we got into explanations about Snake, because that was a
Yeah,
tough one.
let's call. Let's draw the line here because we'll be here. We'll be here. We're already 11 minutes over. So this is this was a fun stream. We'll be back here again for a small Bible study. I may actually pull up the Christmas one. I may actually pull up Jeremiah and show how it's not at all dealing with Christmas.
You want to do that now, or you want to do that on another time?
I'm gonna do it tomorrow. I'm gonna do it tomorrow morning.
Okay. All right.
As a regular Bible study.
I'll be there. I'll be
Yeah.
in the comment section as Enoch.
Yeah. So I'm gonna do that one tomorrow morning. So we'll talk about why talking about you know what time is the next one? The next one will be what time would it be? 9 o'clock my time. So that's 9 a.m. Eastern, 8 a.m. Central, 7 a.m. Mountain, 6 a.m. Pacific. And if you live in Alaska time, that's 5 a.m. Alaska time. And if you live in Hawaii time, since it's 5 hours behind us now, that is 4 a.m. Hawaii time.
And
Yeah,
if
I
you
know
live in
time zones
Alaska,
doesn't work.
5 a.m. is not even a big deal for you. So if you're in Alaska, you need to be on. You need to.
So, fun fact: Alaska is the biggest state in America.
There's no way. Alaska is bigger than Texas.
Way bigger, more than twice the size in mass.
Montana.
Yeah, it's literally by and large, it's not even close. Alaska is the largest state in the entire country.
Well, there's a lot of snow
So,
though. There's a lot of this. You only get like 4
yeah.
hours. You only get like 4 hours of sunlight. I'm like, I'm not going
But-
to Alaska. No, against Alaska. I love you, Alaska.
But anyway, y'all, we're gonna get on out of here. It's a blessing talking to y'all. This is the final. Wait, no, what is it? Next week, next Saturday will be the final episode of the year of the Acknowledgement Podcast. So we're gonna have some fun topics for you all, and we'll go from there. So that being said, we love y'all. Y'all enjoyed this video. Hit that like button, hit the subscribe button, and most of all, you make sure you share this with a friend. This is Avedon and Yofi Smith, and we are out. Peace.
Peace.